The CoHabitat Network is a network of civil society organizations advocating for community-led housing. Our role is to promote good practices and exchange in the field of community-led housing worldwide.
UrbaMonde has been one of the founder organizations of the CoHabitat Network in 2014, when we invited all the organizations to Geneva to think about how to build this network. UrbaMonde is still active as the coordinator and bringing together at least once a year all the members for an annual meeting, for different activities of experience exchanges, and also during the year participating in documentation activities and advocacy activities in different global or major events. The initial idea of the CoHabitat Network was really to bring together different kinds of organizations that broadly worked around community-led housing. So that could be grassroots organizations, community-led organizations, but also academia, technical assistance workers, NGOs, networks and organizations that do not usually speak to each other. We've seen this sustained interest over time in coming together in different forms.
What is interesting about the CoHabitat Network is that we have many grassroots organizations that are part of it. What we try to do with those partners is to get them together, to create spaces for them to learn from each other. Recently, we have done a systematization project, which is a way to document those projects based on a popular educational approach, which means that we try really to give visibility and value to the knowledge that exists within those grassroots, within the communities. For us, it's also very important to promote the knowledge exchange between Global South, so from South to South. And we have managed as well to do a number of different publications, for example, focusing on access to land and financing, which tend to be the major challenges those grassroots face when implementing community-led housing projects.
And this year, to celebrate the 10 years, we wanted to bring back all the members to Geneva, where the network was founded, and to celebrate with a whole week of activities this occasion. And we're bringing together more than 70, 80 participants, representing more than 50 organizations from Latin America, from Asia, Africa, and Europe.
And in this video, you'll hear a little bit from all of them and get to know their inspiring experiences.
Hello, I'm Rubaiya from Bangladesh. I'm here as a representative of POCA, which is Platform of Community Action and Architecture. Basically, it's a platform for professionals who wants to work with low-income communities in Bangladesh. There are some government projects that is not really accessible to the vulnerable communities. Maybe it's a lower middle-income communities who can afford to pay that loan and access that kind of housing. But at the most vulnerable communities, they are always left behind. So that's where we're trying to work with. We are also connected with ACHR, which is the Asian Coalition for Housing Rights. So we come with the same philosophy that let people be the solution. Community-led housing, in our context, it means when a community is prepared to have their own housing, they are prepared to lead. They're not just getting the housing as a commodity from the donor or any other agency. So they are leading the whole process from financial mechanism to design to allotting people or even to maintenance. We try to organize the communities at first. We do a lot of workshops, a lot of extensive community mapping processes are done. And then we have many workshops for designing and planning together with different age groups, with different gender. Especially in vulnerable communities, people come with a lot of traditional knowledge about it. So that's something we try to learn from them, to have their wisdom about the traditional knowledge on built environment and integrate them with the scientific knowledge or design we have. They hold the power to design from the financial mechanism, how much loan they would be able to repay or how much time they will take to repay the loan, and decisions like that. Especially for women to make these decisions are very important and crucial. And I think it's just another, like with housing justice, that's what you want. Like everyone should participate and everyone should have access to these big decisions.
I'm representing Sevanatha Urban Resource Center. It's an NGO and we work with urban low-income communities for last 35 years. In Colombo, that's the main city of Sri Lanka, capital city, we have many urban low-income settlements, but not like other countries in the region. The majority of the settlements are small in size, like 20 units in one settlements. 50% of the Colombo population living in settlements. So they are the owners. So we cannot think about the city development without considering their existence. Also in early 90s and 80s, the government-led participatory housing was very popular within Sri Lanka. It's collective housing led by people, supported by the government. But unfortunately, in recent years, government has changed their policy, and now they construct apartment buildings, 13-story, 14-story apartment buildings to relocate urban poor. So it has created a lot of new issues. The entire social network has destroyed. We are promoting collective housing because we know that people should take the decisions of their lives. It's not only the professionals and the government. We work with the entire community because within the community we need all people, women, men, children. So we work with all the people, but especially when we go to the finance, we work with women. As an organization, we don't do savings or community finance, but we use the women's cooperative. That's a network of savings group. So we use their service when you want to introduce savings, because that's a good network and they have money, they have system, and they support. Once they get the membership, they can have access to finance.
The NGO UrbaSEN is born in a context of flooding, repetitive floodings in Senegal. It was a difficult period in which people faced those floodings, and the government and the municipalities could not give a real answer to them. At the beginning, it was not really an organization. It was just a group of citizens living in those neighborhoods or having friends in those neighborhoods. And we wanted, from what we knew and what we could do, try to talk to the population, to sensitize and to help them face that problem. And then the first steps were to organize the communities, to sensitize, to give a sense to what we are doing, to organize, to have some objectives, to make them understand the real problems. And for that, after our meeting with SDI, we had an important program called Know Your City, because the first thing to do was first to know the city, to understand the problems, and then to try together to find solution. And the main problem was linked to the housing problems. The first thing we learned was that when you are poor, you have to unite, you have to be strong. And we chose that slogan, Mbolo Moidole, meaning together we are strong. Now we started by saving because we needed money, and the only way we found to have money and to produce houses were to save by ourselves. And also to organize, to find another way, an alternative way of financing housing. And we created then the rotative funds. We keep on saving, trying to gather money, but also to discuss in parallel with the government, which accepted technically to support us, but for the money, nothing was possible with the financial institutions. Now we initiated then a program of house production, new houses for those who could not go to the bank, those who have no salary, those who are excluded from all the programs of the government. Now we are developing new strategies to use local materials like clay or tifa, to use those materials in the construction. You have to fight against the heat and the climate change. When we received the gold prize from World Habitat, first we were happy for ourselves. We were happy for the work we have done. Since we received that prize, we are more respected, recognized by the public authorities at the municipal level, at the level also of the states.
My organization was created in 2000 with the objective to work with the development of the favelas in Brazil, considering that these territories are not just territories of precarity, but are also territories full of potentials. The Catalytic communities works by almost 25 years by now, trying to create models to guarantee the lead of the process of development and improvement of housing by the residents. So we provide a lot of technical assistance and funding. The Favela Community Land Trust project started in 2018 in a scenario of a very intense speculative market, real estate market in Rio, and we start to think about a tool that could provide to the residents security and stability in their territories. Rio de Janeiro is the second biggest city in Brazil and the most important touristic zone in the country. So the housing prices are very high. So it is really important for us to keep these territories, to get them improved, but keeping the residents in these ancestors' territories. Yeah, the Community Land Trust is a model created in the US in the 60s, and I believe the biggest example that we have of the potentials of the Community Land Trust in the Global South is the Puerto Rico experience with Canyo Martin Peña. That they were the first group in Latin America to apply the Community Land Trust in an informal settlement. So it's an inspiration for us. And we are working not just in Brazil, but working with the International Center for CLT to disseminate the model in the Global South, because a lot of groups, a lot of movements, a lot of people that fights for housing in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, don't even know about community land trust, don't even know that it could be a possibility. In 2018, when we start the project, nobody knows about community land trust in Brazil. By now, 6 years after, we have already more than 50 academic papers and dissertations and theses about the theme throughout all Brazil. We already have the community land trust recognized as an instrument, as an urban law instrument in 4 cities in the countries, including Rio de Janeiro. And we have now a proposal of a federal legislation.
I come from the Initiative for a Housing Cooperative called Zadrugator from Slovenia, and we are also a member of MOBA Housing Network. We want to build the first pioneering rental housing cooperative in Slovenia as a solution, as an answer to a rising housing crisis. More and more people are pushed out of the housing market, since home ownership is becoming increasingly unaffordable, whereas renting on a rental housing market is super expensive and insecure. We are facing many obstacles which are related to the lack of legislative framework, lack of affordable finance. We have difficulties accessing land. Since this is a completely novel approach to affordable housing provision in our context, people are also not well aware of it and don't have enough information of all the benefits that cooperative housing provision is bringing. For us, the big inspiration was the Switzerland case, so rental housing cooperatives that are done in collaboration with the public actors, because we are trying to promote the model where housing cooperatives is built on a public land, which remains public. The other big inspiration is also for us Barcelona and Catalonia, since they don't have such a long history of cooperative housing as in Switzerland or in Austria. And we've seen in the recent years an exponential rise of cooperative housing in Barcelona. So for us, they are a great example. And also we've learned quite a lot from them, from their examples, and also from their resources that they are creating and sharing openly with the community. We have seen big progress in the last years, since we've conducted a lot of research through which we proved the increased need and also interest of people to solve their housing problem through alternative models. We created several events, national, international conferences, where we brought people with experience from abroad, sharing their knowledge with community-led housing projects. And this was important, yes.
Je viens d'une association qui s'appelle Habitat et Participation et qui est située à Louvain-la-Neuve, qui est en Belgique, en région wallonne. Il y a un axe plutôt de sensibilisation du grand public en faisant toute une série d'activités pour faire savoir que l'habitat groupé participatif existe. Donc ceux qui veulent monter des projets d'habitat groupé participatif peuvent être accompagnés par nous, tant en région wallonne qu'en région bruxelloise. Alors donc on a recensé plus ou moins 400 habitats groupés et participatifs à Bruxelles et en région wallonne. Et en fait c'est très très varié, c'est-à-dire qu'on peut avoir des gens qui font de l'autopromotion et qui montent leur habitat groupé avec un projet phare qui peut être de l'agriculture, du maraîchage, qui peut être plus culturel, qui peut être plus social, accueillir des personnes en difficulté de manière passagère. Et puis après, les modèles plus urbains où on est sûr, on va dire, du développement durable, mais davantage dans une visée de quartier. Donc c'est s'ouvrir au quartier, alors peut-être avoir des potagers collectifs, mais aussi ouvrir le quartier par rapport à des activités, inclure ceux qui sont un peu tout seuls. Et puis on a aussi tout ce qui est plus habitat solidaire, c'est-à-dire à la base un groupe de personnes qui ont certaines grosses difficultés de vie, ce qu'on pourrait appeler de la précarité sociale, et qui effectivement se mettent ensemble pour un temps ou pour un temps court ou pour un temps plus long pour justement réussir à surmonter ces difficultés, que ce soit des mamans ou des papas solos, que ce soit des personnes avec un handicap mental ou physique, que ce soit des seniors. La demande la plus forte chez nous actuellement, c'est des habitats groupés participatifs pour les seniors. Ça, c'est véritablement la plus grosse demande qu'on peut observer.
I am a researcher from University of Gothenburg in Sweden, and I am also part of Egnahemsfabriken, which is a social enterprise at Tjörn. I was part of starting Egnahemsfabriken almost 6 years ago now. And the reason why we started is because it's a huge housing shortage in Sweden, and there is not built enough to cover that shortage. And especially people with a normal or a small wallet don't have the possibility to live in what the market can produce. We had it quite good in Sweden, but it turned. So from the middle of the 90s, it started to turn around. And it's mainly based on political decisions, but also the global situation, the market economy system globally also influence Sweden. So we have a quite big increase of the gap between rich and poor in Sweden, and it's not going in the right direction, unfortunately. So this organization supports people that want to build a small house or a bit bigger if they want to. But the houses are small, mostly built in wood and sustainable. We use a lot of used material to be sustainable, but also to lower the costs. And we have a method of co-construction, so people build together with other people helping each other out. Co-design and co-building helps people to get strong, and to do this together, both the design and the construction, helps them to really succeed with building their homes. Right now we have a project close to where the Egnahemsfabriken is. It's 17 households building their own small homes. Participation is from the beginning, so they participate in forming the group. So in that project with 17 households, we started with 5. They choose ownership, but they also got another chance. We worked together with the municipality, and they also made the possibility to lease the land. So they will choose between leasing the land and buying the land. So I think we lack in Sweden at least types of organizations that are well suited for self-construction, because self-construction is lowering the costs with 20%. So it's very important that we can do that. And we also need a change in Sweden when it comes to using old material, because it's not possible now to use the construction of buildings. Financing is it's a struggle in Sweden. It's really hard. We have one bank that finances this kind of projects, but they still need quite a big security to lend money. So it's not easy for people to do this, even if they build cheaper than in ordinary construction. We need very much ethical banks or some other kind of financiers.
La CIGU, c'est une coopérative qui loge des personnes en formation, donc des apprentis, des universitaires, des stagiaires, qui a été créée en 1986 dans un contexte où à Genève, il y avait déjà la crise du logement, parce que c'était aussi une période où il y avait beaucoup de squats, mais il y avait aussi beaucoup d'étudiants qui étaient dans des situations précaires. C'était vraiment le droit au logement, à l'accès, contre la spéculation. Il y avait aussi beaucoup de logements qui étaient laissés vides, et puis c'était plutôt que d'y aller par la force, en squattant et en ayant le risque d'être délogé par la police, c'était plutôt de rentrer en négociation. Et puis ils ont pu obtenir des premiers contrats de confiance avec la ville de Genève et des propriétaires privés. Et puis ils ont pu du coup proposer du logement pour des étudiants sur le long terme et accessible. Ils se sont inspirés du modèle qui était déjà très présent en Suisse alémanique, notamment à Zurich ou à Bâle, où les coopératives étaient déjà bien engagées, étaient mises sur pied. Il faut une forme de tolérance pour vivre ensemble. Donc dans les colocations, c'est une puissante manière de se rassembler et puis d'apprendre à vivre ensemble. C'est aussi une manière de rencontrer plus rapidement du monde à Genève quand on arrive de l'étranger et qu'on vient faire ses études. C'est une manière de s'intégrer plus facilement. Et aussi, pour nous, c'est aussi une manière de continuer à faire du logement accessible parce que on diminue finalement les coûts en partageant une cuisine. On construit, généralement, on prévoit une salle de douche pour 3 étudiants. Pour la coopérative, c'est clair que dans les nouveaux projets qu'elle construit, elle cherche toujours à être au top au niveau efficience énergétique et à construire, à être innovant, à inventer aussi des nouvelles manières de construire écologiques. Dans notre conseil d'administration, il y a des étudiants. On met en place des commissions de réflexion sur l'habitat et tout ça. Là, il y a les étudiants. Donc on est toujours au cœur des besoins des étudiants. Et puis comme il y a une évolution très forte des étudiants, ça change tout le temps. Donc on est toujours au cœur de ce qui se fait et des besoins.
I'm a member at Edinburgh Student Housing Cooperative, which is the biggest student housing cooperative in the UK. So we've been running for 10 years and we have 106 rooms over 2 buildings where we host students from universities around Edinburgh and beyond. The cooperative was started 10 years ago by some students who were becoming politically engaged off the back of student protest movements in the UK in the early 2010s. And people felt like there was a need to have a affordable housing solution for students because of the rising cost of education. And I think inspired by the history of cooperatives around the world, students seized the opportunity of actually taking action and once they found this property, they actually decided to develop it. And it was a sequence of lucky events where all the circumstances fell into place and getting enough support institutionally from the university and the city council managed to open that door. So Edinburgh Student Housing Cooperative doesn't actually own its buildings. We lease them from Places for People Scotland, which is a social housing provider. We're a fully mutual cooperative, which means that all of our students are also members of the cooperative. We don't employ any full-time or part-time staff, so the work of running the cooperative is distributed among all of our members equally, and it's fully non-hierarchical, so we don't have a board of directors. Every member gets to decide how the co-op is run through a general meeting. Because of our overheads are incredibly low, since we don't actually employ anyone, we've actually managed to increase the rent by less than £90 over the last 10 years. So students now pay £388 per month, which includes all bills, electricity, toilet paper, washing up liquid, and that is by far the lowest rent in the city for a student house. Some people will just, enjoy the cheap housing, contribute minimally, and then get out of it. But if you choose to actually fully engage, with work in the co-op, it can be quite transformative. It's quite a special space socially to meet people from many different backgrounds and degrees. And people learn a lot of new skills. People will learn how to, will learn all sorts of skills like public speaking or, doing accounting, things that, a university degree really doesn't teach you. And some of our members are quite politically engaged. So it is really quite a wonderful learning space. And it's also quite good for, social life. There's always going to be someone making communal meals that you can go and go and visit their kitchen. All sorts of we foster all the creativity in our members, so we've helped people start their own ceilidh bands, drag performances, theatre groups, craft nights. So yeah, it's quite a active social space in many ways, and it's quite friendly to diverse populations that are maybe more discriminated in the housing market. So it's quite a safe space for people as well to be out and be fully themselves.
When you are doing very good things, you also have to share with others, because that is one of our main objectives. Yeah, and since then we are trying to build something in the sub-region of in West Africa with 7 other countries, and they are seduced. They like the Senegalese model we have built, and now we are trying to organize peer-to-peer exchanges here to make some transfer, and also to keep on learning from the others. That hub we are building right now, that Francophone hub, is something very, very important for us.
The involvement of local government and their interest would be more crucial for such housing processes. They need to be more, we want them to be more engaged with the communities, and the whole idea is not just to see housing as a commodity, like, oh, we are building this many houses for this many people, but it's a process. So that's something we expect from the stakeholders, to be part of the process, even if it takes a bit longer time, to be patient and to be part of this process to co-create the housing rather than to provide.
In our context, we really have an increasing need to find new ways how to provide affordable, secure and non-speculative housing. So the message for our government, since we need a change in the national policy, is that there is enough of just giving promises before each election, and it's time that the action is taken also on their end. The change needed is not, it doesn't require so much resources and capacities, but the potential benefits in the long run are enormous for our communities.
On a passé le temps de l'expérimentation, on a passé le temps de démontrer que c'était un modèle résistant, robuste, intéressant à tout niveau. Aujourd'hui, je pense que les autorités devraient arrêter d'imaginer que les habitants qui veulent faire ça doivent faire ça tout seuls dans leur coin et se débrouiller, mais véritablement que ça soit un modèle qui soit rentré institutionnellement comme un des modèles d'habitat que doivent soutenir les pouvoirs publics.
Municipalities need to support groups that want to build this kind of housing by appointing land to groups and letting them taking care of the process and hire constructors, and also to lease the land instead of selling it, and not leasing it just for 10 years because people need longer security, so at least 50 years or even 100 years. We have common land between houses in the West Coast, and it worked very well. So this is something we need to pick up from history and use.
Collective tenure is the key to address a lot of challenges that we are facing for decades, not just in the global south, but also in the global north. Is the key for break this wheel of poverty, precarity, and urban violence, and a lot of other things that we have in our cities.
Et il y a des mécanismes importants qui existent en Suisse. On arrive à obtenir des terrains, alors on souhaite qu'il y ait toujours plus de terrains pour les coopératives, mais aussi à long terme, notamment en fait pour entretenir un parc immobilier, le rénover. Quand on rénove, on doit réemprunter de l'argent. C'est qu'il faut du soutien sur la durée pour éviter d'augmenter des loyers.
What I would ask, our local decision maker is to actually give us a bit of trust and confidence that we actually have plans of like how to take things forward, and working together can only lead to good outcomes for our current housing crisis. We're not asking to be funded. We can figure, we have a sustainable funding model, but there are scale issues that, can benefit from changes in policy and working together.
Trust the students.
Trust the students, yes.
The network is actually growing. We also have now a parallel network for student housing cooperatives with younger members who are actively participating in the network, and we are looking for some funding to develop documentation, to develop these experience exchanges activities that are so important for the people to go forward with their initiatives.
What are you waiting for?
Mirabar.
Lugar de raro por diapti.
O que vocês estão esperando?
Mais vous attendez quoi?
Kaj še čakate?
Vad väntar du på?
What are you waiting for?